A river is a process, one that both shapes the world and is shaped by it. As water moves from high to low, from the mountains to the sea, it transforms landscapes and provides countless services which affect human lives and lifestyles. Many of these services depend on processes that occur within that journey. Interactions with landscapes and ecosystems imbue rivers with their unique characteristics. It is these interactions with geology and biology that naturally dictate how fast a river moves, how much sediment it carries, or what organisms and ecosystems it can support. These traits in turn impact the humans that rely on rivers for transportation, infrastructure, or consumption. Therefore, the services that rivers provide to us are inherently linked to the processes that occur within them. Perhaps the most fundamental of these processes is erosion. Water moving downhill gains the energy to break down and carry sediment. When the momentum slows, the sediments settle and are deposited anew. In this way, the rocks of mountains are transformed and transported into the sands of floodplains. As they move, they carve and blanket the intervening landscapes, helping to build and fertilize soils with the minerals from weathered rock. Everyone who lives in these landscapes, which is to say almost every human on Earth, has erosion to thank for the shape and character of the ground beneath their feet. Almost nowhere on Earth is erosion more active than in tropical mountain ranges. Here, high rainfall and rapid geologic changes create the conditions for the maximum interaction between water and rock. Montane rivers gain unparalleled speed and energy as they move down a steep gradient and mediate erosion through floods and debris flows that move massive quantities of material downstream. Although often a nuisance or a danger, this frequent disturbance and transportation of sediments underlies many of rivers' most valuable traits and services. River corridors, carved in this way, provide natural passageways for transportation of people and goods, and canyons provide sites for hydroelectric dams. The transported sediments build the floodplains that support agriculture, rainforests, and carbon-storing swamps, and create a valuable source of building materials. The processes of erosion that shape landscapes shape their inhabitants as well. Fast water and violent erosion events drive biodiversity by forcing species to adapt. To occupy these valuable niches, fish and invertebrates must develop unique shapes and attachment organs to avoid being swept downstream. Some fish develop wedge-shaped heads and canted fins to help them press against the riverbed in the current. Many species develop fascinating mouth structures with soft, fleshy lips bristling with keratin spines and hooks, which fold downward and back to suction onto rocks. Others use teeth, rough scales, or modified fins as anchors. Incredibly, some can even use these suction and friction structures to ratchet their body along surfaces both in and out of the water. These selection pressures make tropical montane river corridors some of the most biodiverse regions in the world, and a valuable part of ecosystems both locally and far downstream. The value of rivers is hard to overstate, but taking thoughtless advantage of river services endangers the processes that create them. Dams, road cuts, agriculture, and sediment mining all interfere with the natural rate and function of many river processes. Dams block the movement of sediments, organisms, and seasonal floods, disrupting food security downstream by stopping fish migration or nutrient delivery. Road cuts lead to landslides that destroy infrastructure and artificially accelerate erosion. Quarrying destroys habitats and changes the shape of the river, while agriculture alters the plant and soil conditions of watersheds, leading to dramatic changes in how water moves through landscapes. Around the world, the processes that rivers comprise are the source of their most valuable characteristics and their greatest points of vulnerability. Because rivers are so valuable to us, we also greatly depend on them functioning correctly. Taking advantage of their services often disrupts the very processes that create them. And, like any process, altering things upstream tends to impact things downstream, creating a wave of impact that can affect vast areas and millions of people. Understanding both how rivers work and how human activities are impacting those systems is key to developing a sustainable relationship between us and the rivers that sustain us.